It's the morning of the 29th of March, so night fishing starts tonight, and we're over at Berner's Hall for the next instalment of our session film. And as always, I'm first on the gate, you know, never like to be out keen to me. I want to get a good swim. Hopefully we will catch a few. Scott's in bed.
Welcome to episode 5 of our session film, and today marks a very special day. You know, we've all been in lockdown, we've all been locked up all winter long, and we're all clucking to get out fishing. Today is March the 29th, and today Berner's Hall Fishery officially opened. I was on the gate at the crack of dawn. You know, I didn't want to be out keened.
What you gonna do to make it alright?
It's a lake that I have never fished before. Looking at where the swims are positioned, you know, you've got lots of swims along this bank, and then they sort of start along here, and there's only 2 swims here, so it's supposedly going to be a full house. So what that means is lots of people, lots of casting, and lots of angling pressure on the water. And in my mind, naturally the fish will push away from that over the course of time. We've got 4 nights. We're here Monday until Friday, and I'm hedging my bets by going in the island swim that the fish could be pushed out here by people casting from this bank, casting from this bank, and this is the least sort of cluttered area of the lake. It's absolutely lovely out there. I've had, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 casts. There's a church on the far side, just to the right of that. I clipped up at 25 rod lengths. I also had a couple more clips in there at 26 and 27. But after making that first cast at 25 and seeing how windy it is out there, I certainly wouldn't want to be fishing much further than that if I didn't need to. And just short of that 25 rod length clip, it's clear at 25, and you come back across quite smooth bottom, and a little bit shorter, maybe about 95 yards, there's a patch of gravel. It's not very wide. It's perhaps, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 foot wide, maybe only big enough for 2 rods. And I think with this wind, I'm probably better off fishing just 2 out there and doing something else with a 3rd rod. So with all the swims being taken, it's a situation that you probably find yourself in on many day ticket lakes, especially at this time of year in spring. And being able to react and move on to fish is probably not going to be an option. So it's going to be more of a case of find a spot, bait and wait, and try and do the best you can in the swim that you've got. The plan is, I've got a bucket of bait that I've mixed up, which is 1 part hemp, 1 part boilie crumb, and 1 part maggots. And ideally I'd only want 8, 10 big spoms over the 2 rods on this spot. But because of the wind, and I'm not sure how accurate I'm going to be able to be, there's a good chance I might need to put out a few more. So I'm going to try and keep it to around 10, but it might end up being 12 or 15 by the time a few have gone left and right and whatnot. But that's the plan. Get the rods on the bait. Once I've made all this disturbance, you know, casting around, I don't want to have to do it again really. You know, I want to keep my swim quiet of leads crashing in and spoms going in, because obviously the lake's busy. People are all going to be recast at different times of day, and my plan is to get out well and sit back and hopefully let the other guys on the lake push the fish onto me. Well, that's the plan anyway. Right, so the bait is out there. I'm going to go in with bright pop-ups over the top. You know, bright pop-ups in the spring, great tactic, you know. If it gets to the point where I think that I'm not catching and the fish are eating the bait, you know, say they're topping out there and nothing's happening on the rods, then maybe I will need to switch to like a ball of maggots on the hook or something like that. Yeah, without further ado, let's get them out there. So, today's the big day, the 29th, the first day of night fishing in a very long time. And obviously, I'm as keen as everybody else is, you know. I hadn't spoke to anyone that sort of fished here doing day, because the lake's been closed, so there's been no sort of day fishing going on to piece together any information. So the fact that I've never fished here before and I've arrived with a in amongst all these other anglers, it was always going to be a difficult opening day. But by coming from Monday till Friday, 4 nights, that gives me a little bit of time to learn on the job. So in preparation of this session, I've done what I considered the best that I could do, and that was to make sure that I was on that gate early, to get myself a central swim where I felt that there was a good chance that if the lake was busy, the fish could be pushed out to. And my opening tactic to start with was to have a little bit of a lead round and fish over some bait, because I didn't know how many swims were going to be free and what the sort of opportunity to move was going to be. So my opening line of attack was to get a central swim, find a nice spot, put out a decent amount of food, because there's a big head of fish in here. We're talking like 600 carp or so, and lots of big ones. Get a bit of food out, and I can sit behind that bait now, observing. You know, that bait's working for me. The attraction, the oils on all of the attractors that are in that bait is working the water. So should any fish come by, they can be drawn into that. But while I'm waiting, I'm now learning. I'm looking around the lake. There's a guy opposite me. He's had 2 today. The first one was definitely on a zig, and the second one probably was. We don't know that, but the second one probably was. It came soon after his first one. And he's in a corner of the lake over there, and there's 2 free swims. So I'm not sure if they'll get taken this evening or tomorrow morning, but I certainly know that there's fish in that corner of the lake based on his 2 takes. And there's 2 free swims down here as well in this corner. So there is a little bit of scope for movement yet. I'm not saying this is me for 4 nights, but it is a central swim. It is meant to be one of the good ones, and it has got a nice clear spot out there, and I've got a bit of bait on it. So I'm definitely going to give that tonight. Going to give it a chance. But should nothing occur, I will be keeping my eyes peeled. We didn't see anything today. I've not seen a single fish jump out. The only activity that I've got to say, oh, there's some carp there, is his 2 bites. That is all I've got at the moment. But now the casting sort of died down, everyone's sort of got their rods out. The sun's just dropping over the far bank. I think there'll be a good chance of seeing something show this evening. So yeah, I'm quite happy sitting here for the moment, and we'll let the bait do its job. Try and bring some fish in, but failing that, if I need to move, I will. Well, it took a while to happen, but one fish showed over the other 2 rods, the 2 that are out in open water, just before dark, just as the sun went down. And since it's got dark, a couple of fish have shown out in open water that I've heard, and then the island rod has ripped off. And what's interesting about that is it's in quite considerably shallower water than the open water rod. And the guy that caught opposite definitely caught one of his fish on a zig rig, so that would indicate that the fish are up in the water a little bit. The fact that shallow water's gone, might be worth putting a zig out in the open water tomorrow. Well, it feels like good fish in this. Get in there. Yes. Yes. Get in there. Well, first night, first bite. Couldn't ask much more than that really. 28 pounder. It's come from the left hand rod, sort of cast just beyond the island, sort of pulling up the marginal shelf. It's not tight, but what it is, it's in much shallower water than my open water rods, and maybe that's significant. The guy opposite has caught 1 or 2 today on zig rigs, obviously fishing shallower than I am on my open water rods, and that could be the real thing here. Moving forward, obviously, this one's taken on a pink pop-up, and 2 of my 3 rods are on pinks, so maybe I need to get all 3 of them on that colour. But it's early days yet, and 1 bite doesn't tell you everything, but a very, very good start. I think the best thing to do now is to get this one pictured, get the rod recast, get back in that sleeping bag, because I'm absolutely knackered.